So album releases, product releases, and any big event for an artist, when channeled correctly, usually takes an historical event and tries to emit the same energy. So with Sacred putting out their new product with Jay-Z uncombing his wigs was actually supposed to be a deeper symbolism connected back to ancient Egypt. So let's go through it. As you can see, the sacred bottle looks very similar to a statue of the goddess Nut in ancient Egypt, especially with the use of the color lapis lazuli, which Beyonce has been public about and said she wanted to channel ancient Egypt. A lot of this same concept is used in her work. Now, if we look into lapis lazuli, they say that there is a myth that God, while creating the earth, sky, and water, thought that the earth looked too faded and gloomy, so he gathered some water from the heaven and scattered it all over the land to make it appear brighter, and that's how lapis lazuli appeared. This was also tied to rebirth after death. Now, they posted this 6 days ago. 6 days ago was the beginning of summer solstice, and summer solstice is very close to the heliacal rising of Sirius, and Sirius is associated with the goddess Isis. This specific time would usually be symbolizing a new year or a new beginning, also including cycles of death and rebirth. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I thought it was interesting that it seemed like Chloe Bailey's energy was being channeled for the Carters specifically, with her new mixtape Resurrection being released on Juneteenth. It is important what days rituals are done, especially with the blue coating and then the recent release of her film Strong yesterday. Now, don't watch anymore if you have not watched Strong yet, because these are going to be spoilers. In the movie, Chloe plays a violinist named Layla, who is hired to teach music to the daughter Zuri. And I don't know, like I already showed in a previous video, the mask was giving the same Congolese mask that Jay-Z was just shown in his GQ interview. And when you look around at the cast, you start to see a lot of mirrors. Just to give you a quick example, Lynn Whitfield is very much giving Tina Knoll. I'm sure you can start to put the other pieces in place, right? Remember, I mentioned that the heliacal rising of Sirius was all about the resurrection and rebirth. And the movies seem like they're trying to mirror what is going to happen in the reality. Maybe not literally, but just symbolically. I say this because Chloe is a Cancer. Her birthday is July 1st. That's 7-1. Numerical ciphering is a way to harness magical energy. Whether you believe it, don't believe it, architecture is a very prominent piece to the equation when trying to execute magical works. Blue Ivy's birthday is January 7th. So you have 7-1 and then you have 1-7. Cancer and Capricorn. So you can imagine why I'm showing you this example. I mean, I think it's clear as day, but some people may not be ready to accept it. Another thing I found kind of interesting is that I did not know that Chloe's fan base was called the Clovers, right? Like the 4-leaf clover. And not too long after that Roots picnic, Jay-Z comes out wearing a clover on his jacket. And, you know, I think there is a specific structure to leveling up in the industry or fulfilling contract. Here we have a picture of Chloe at the Sacred event. Now, this does not mean that Chloe has done anything nefarious. In fact, I really think it's more about how we watch the stories play out. Like, I thought back to the cover of Ungodly Hour with her and her sister wearing these chrome-colored wings, and how chrome has been a prominent portion of showing futurism, but also the idea of fallen angels. So you have to kind of read the story within the story. But going back to the universal themes, I think it's about channeling this Isis Nut energy. And just like as a media example, I can give you, if you remember Gabrielle Union in the film Bring It On with the East Compton Clovers, and her character's name was Isis. Blue outside of the name has been a prominent theme throughout their careers. The number 4 and blue. 4 represents Cancer, home and family in the tropical astrology. In the Egyptian 13 signs, it represents Anubis, who guards the gates to the underworld. And there's a lot of coding I could go into that, but I'm going to stick with the Chloe blue family theme. I don't think it's a far reach to say that artists can be used as conduits or channels to open up gates or energy, especially people who are closely related to this energy. So if Chloe is related to the sign of Cancer, which is related to the mother, the feminine energy, and she just had a mixtape release right before Cancer season kicked off. Then she has a movie coming out during Cancer season. All the while, the Carters are trying to have this resurrection energy. Because mind you, we haven't seen Beyonce in months. Jay-Z, negative or positive, has been in the news running for a few months now. And Chloe's story, these characters that she's portraying, whether through Strong, through her actual musical career, or even through the symbolism in these music videos, is giving I'm a mirror or a channel to which certain energy is going to be executed. Now, I don't like to be that person who says this is good or bad in Chloe's favor. I just read symbolic stories for a living. I don't like putting bad energy on anybody, no matter what they participated in or been a part of. But what I will say is I've done my best to show interpretations in the media of Egyptian symbolism. People always ask why Egypt. It is one of the oldest civilizations in history, but the same structures, whether we're talking about mathematics, art, language, symbology, is still used to this day, whether consumers are aware of it or not. Whether it's for positive or negative is really up to the interpreter. But just because we're looking at it in a modern day context does not mean that these games have not been played out for thousands of years. Chloe does emit the Cancerian archetype. However, if you watch this movie, I want y'all to pay attention to the plot line of it, and you pay attention to the characters, the symbolism. Even Peep, like in the scene how she's wearing gold and the little girl is wearing a mask with blue lips. I want you to think about symbolically what that represents in terms of a story. Did the writer know this when they made it? Maybe, maybe not. However, when we think about the real life roles that she's playing versus the ones in the movie, the ones in the music video, it starts to show a very specific thread. So, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only.